All right, you ready?
I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
What
the hell? What was that supposed
Because
to
we
be?
both were like...
Like news? Oh, I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, man. All right. I know.
Oh, I was thinking JoJo. Okay.
No,
whatever.
Anyways.
This is the restroom. It's for everyone, so make sure you keep it clean. Even I'm house trained after all.
TGR.
Sky turns red, swallowing up each and every being in this town. Hopes, hearts, everything is falling down.
Far away in the skyline, crowd of apparitions crawling around. It's calling, growing louder.
Are we the future of this burning hell?
It's a fight for a paradise, fight for our lives. So keep holding on until we break the spell.
Free yourself, reach for the light in darkness and despair. If there comes a time when you are falling down,
I'll be your savior.
What's up, guys? It's Rudy.
And it's your boy, Onyx. Yeah. Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster. Hi, guys.
Hey, so we are here. We actually finished playing Astral Chain. Finally. We actually finished it like before I built my PC.
It's been a few weeks now.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
just, I mean, it's been insane.
So a
many
lot of stuff, a lot
So
of
many
games. You know, Outer Worlds has been taking up a lot of our time. 'Cause my gosh, that game.
Holy crap! But we're not reviewing that.
We sure aren't. We sure are not. We are reviewing something else.
Yes.
That we just talked about.
Yes.
That we just
Astral
said.
Chain.
Astral Chain.
So let's go ahead and start talking about it.
Correct.
So I guess we can go ahead and, dive into it. We talk about story. For those of you that haven't watched any of our reviews, we talk about story, gameplay, audio, and visuals, and then we compile everything up. There is a review scale in the description below, so you'll be able to see and kind of like keep track of everything that we're doing. Right. And then we compile it up and give you a final score, the TGR.
The official
TGR
score
TGR
after
score.
calculations,
Yes.
after doing some crazy math.
I'm not a mathematician. We use calculators.
Right.
So let's go ahead and start talking about it, man. So how do you feel about the story?
I liked it, right?
Yeah.
Let's just get that out of the way. It's a pretty solid story.
Yeah.
It's a simple story.
Yeah,
it actually starts off really, really, really simple.
Like very simple.
Right? It's got your it's very reminiscent of Neon Genesis Evangelion. I got a lot of those
That's
vibes.
actually very, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah. So just to give you some overview, if you haven't played the game, you're essentially a rookie cop with your twin brother or sister, depending on the sex that you choose. You go into the headquarters where your adoptive father works, and you're just training to be a new cop, and you're going to be using legions eventually.
Yeah.
That's the setup.
Yeah.
And the rest of the story takes off from there. Again, it's a very simple story. You kind of see what Legion's powers are, where they come from. What I think the game excelled as was with a lot of the character development. So the game did well for the sibling that you're not playing as.
Right.
Right, because the character you play as is silent,
Yes.
which was one of the drawbacks for me.
Yes. All right. So far, we're agreeing on like a lot of the same things. Because for me, I saw that as such a drawback because your sibling goes through so much. And by the way, this is going to be full of spoilers.
Spoiler warning at the
spoiler
beginning
warning,
of the video.
Yeah. But everything, like, you see your character, like, all the clones near the end of the game, like...
Yeah, they were your siblings' clones, right?
They were your siblings' clones, and, like, you see all of this, and, like, all your character does is, like, occasionally grunt.
Yeah, yell, scream, sometimes, etc.
Yeah.
And just to give you some background with the clone, so there's a part of the game where... like the main villain of the game, I think his name was Yosef.
Yeah,
I think it was Joseph. Like that.
But Yosef wasn't really the main villain. It was kind of like a catch-20, or not? What's the term?
It wasn't really a catch-22
switch because you're chasing after what's her name?
No, so it's the opposite. You were chasing after the blonde chick.
Yes.
I forgot her name already. Sorry.
It will put it in.
Yeah. Camilla, Amelia, I forget.
Sure.
So you're chasing after her because Yosef. So Yosef is like the commander of the Legion group of the police force.
He's a doctor.
Right. And at the beginning of the game, you see him like doing the experiments of the Legion, getting the new Sword Legion, or what it looked like anyway. And then he tells you we got to chase after this one terrorist, essentially.
Right.
And then that's where you do the bait and switch, where she reveals like she's actually trying to protect you in a way from what they were trying to do with the Legions. And then you find out Yosef is the bad guy.
Yep.
And near the end of the game, he actually kidnaps Akira, because the other sibling is always going to be Akira Howard, and like clones the character. I played as a female, so I may refer to as Akira as him.
Yeah.
And I know you played as
male,
so Akira was the girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my playthrough, of course, he got kidnapped. They made a whole bunch of the clones for him, and then you fight. I mean, you know that kind of gives him that like crisis and whatnot of like, who am I, what am I, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of like identity issues and stuff like that pop up, especially as. I mean, I don't know. There was a lot of like just character development that led to like that point and everything like that.
Right. And when I say Evangelion, or it feels like Evangelion, is because there's so many similarities in terms of the setup. So again, Yosef is like, he's not exactly a father figure like Gendo was. Wait, Gendo Ikari?
Yeah, Gendo Ikari.
Is it Gendo?
I believe so.
I think so too. Anyway, so
I've binged
Shinji's dad. Yeah.
So.
Shinji's dad in Neon Genesis Evangelion, that's kind of his role. He's the mastermind behind everything, but even though he purports to literally Sele, because it looked just like him, like these friggin' soundboards with no faces. I'm like, is this Sele? It looked a lot like Evangelion. I'll probably put a picture of Sele so you can kind of see how it looks in the anime. But he's like, he reports to them, so they're like the bosses, but he does his own thing. Yeah. Right? He's chasing that ultimate power.
Yeah, to become his gods.
What the hell? There's a reference to
Nier
Automata, like become as gods. No, I know. I did read up on it. That term didn't actually come from Nier Automata. Yoko Taro obviously borrowed it from a philosopher.
Yeah. But still,
it's a developed
there.
game. I think it was the game
same
director.
developers.
Same developer, and the director of this game, I think, was the game
producer?
planner or something from Automata.
Okay.
He had a pretty big role.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's obviously a connection here.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the story itself, but obviously in the crew, most definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think overall, I'm just reading at my notes because I wrote down a bunch of crap on here.
My notes are not as extensive.
So like a lot of the, it did touch on a lot of subjects that you would say were pretty deep. Again, you mentioned identity with Akira's dilemma, and then it kind of goes into like what is family, because obviously like that was the adoptive father, but treated them as his own kids.
Yeah.
So the game, surprisingly for me, there were some moments that gave me relatively emotional like response.
Like when the Axe Legion like protected whichever character you were playing near the end of the game, and like it was just like a father figure kind of, and then all of a sudden, boom, it like kicks in. And I'm getting chills just talking.
There were some moments that gave me emotional responses. That one was really solid. There was another one where it wasn't necessarily like emotional in the sense of like sad or mournful, but more so like hype. There were some really really hype moments. One of the ones that I loved was actually no, you know what? Start with that, because the game starts off with this.
The game starts off in an opening scene. There's like a bunch of chaos, and you're on your motorcycle just like going through, and like I'm sitting here, and I like we were looking at it. I'm just like, how is this running on the Switch?
Yeah, even when we were recording footage for the game, we said it again. We're like, damn, this opening looks good.
It looks so good.
Like the motion
it's
blur,
so stylized.
Yeah.
I mean, Platinum Games like
they're good at style, man. They're really good at style.
Yes, very good. And like overall, the action sequences, everything that went through, like it felt good.
Yeah.
And I don't want to dive too much into gameplay yet.
We'll get
there. But like story-wise, like starting off with like that action sequence,
it's a great setup. Great setup.
Perfect setup.
Not only that, but you get the action sequence, and when you get in there, you're like helping the wounded soldiers or the cops, like dragging them off and stuff. And then the other hype moment, which happens way later in the story for me, and I guess spoilers again, just in case. When your sibling breaks out and turns like berserk.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a part of the story where like your character.
Oh, you mean when you fuse with your Legion?
With the Legion, right?
Yeah.
So there's a part of the story where like your character fuses with the Legion.
Yeah.
And you become this like, I forget I think it was Legionists or Legionitis, something like that.
Yeah.
And sucks. I don't remember any of the terms.
It's okay, dude. We beat it like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
There's so much going on.
Yeah.
Outer World.
But anyway, so you fuse and then like you go berserk, and that's one of the other emotional parts where like you're slowly. There's a part where the game kind of like forces you to walk towards your sibling character.
Yep.
And he's like trying to tell you, or she is trying to tell you like, no, please stop. I'm your brother or sister. Like, don't do this. And like, it was actually really another well done moment that just kind of came out of nowhere. So then after that, your sibling then also turns like fuses with their legion, and so do you. And the moment when you finally unlock it, like, you know, your sibling turns into it, and you're like, oh man, like your Hal is like, oh, you got to use your power too.
Yeah.
You press both sticks, and an animation starts for you. See your character like fuse and turn into it with a friggin' J-Rock song in the background, like some anime ass song.
Yeah.
It hypes you up, and then you go in and you're fighting it with this like rock song playing.
Yep,
And the
yep.
very end of the fight, it like zooms in. It's a quick time where you're like mashing the friggin' thumb. The trigger buttons,
Yeah.
and both of the Legionists are just like going in and out. I'm gonna put it right here so you can see that scene, because damn, it was so frigging hype.
Yes.
I finished that segment. I was just like, yo, oh, Platinum Games, you guys are so good. That was probably the highlight of the game for me. That whole segment was so damn good. Like, I'm just not gonna forget it. Those are some of those key moments in gaming where it's like, yeah, that was hype. It did what it wanted to do. I'm not gonna forget it for a very long time.
Yeah.
For a very long time. So major kudos to I guess the game planner, really. Whoever planned those segments in there. Wow.
Oh man. Yeah, in regards to like story, man, at least in my opinion, like we talked about it, like I finished it and I immediately messaged him. I was like, dude, I just finished the game.
Yeah. I kept telling him because I was ahead of him, and I was like, dude, you gotta finish file 10. You gotta finish file 9.
Yeah.
Oh my god, file 11.
Yeah.
Like, I kept hyping him up because like the events just kept ramping up. And while the last chapter, file 12, or not file 12, file 11, the final boss was kind of interesting because it involved a lot of the platforming.
Yeah.
I still, at the end of that, the climax of that fight was actually pretty hyped too.
Yeah,
And going in there just like stabbing him in the head. I was like,
Yes.
yo,
It
let's
was-
with the sword too.
Yes.
Your first Legion, that was hype stuff.
Yeah, my first Legion was like to the max.
Yeah,
To the
of
max.
course. Dude.
Like,
the sword
you
was
know,
powerful.
I have like a lot of love for stuff like that. But in regards to like what like I wanted to go ahead and say was that like when I finished the game, I was talking to him and I was like, oh yeah, you know, like I felt like, you know, that was like a 12-hour game, 13-hour game.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, no. Like I clocked
Look at
in.
your I'm like, I clocked almost at 30
Yeah.
hours.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, really? Like it didn't feel that long. And that's like a result of really good pacing
Absolutely.
within the game.
Absolutely.
Like-
There was one file that had crappy pacing. That was file 8. But that has more to do with the gameplay, so we'll get to that part.
Yeah.
I'll talk a little more about it in the gameplay.
Yeah.
But that file had you doing a lot of stuff that it just hurt the pacing for me.
Yeah.
That one part. But everything else,
Was just
perfect.
Yeah.
And I did like the supporting characters a lot. The supporting cast was pretty solid. Marie was frigging hilarious, especially when she dressed up as the dog.
yeah. What was her name? Lappy?
Lappy, thank
Lappy.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Lappy was a highlight. Like, there's certain scenes where, again, now you'll see it here. There's certain scenes where she, like, just pops up and, like, scares you every single time. Like, welcome to the restroom. Like, oh my God, this is actually incredible.
Yes. Very, very well done.
I like games to have some quirkiness to them. Like, they can't just be all, I mean, they can be all serious, right? Like Nier Automata. But even that game had some quirks to
there
the
were some,
characters and to,
yeah.
like, the fourth wall breaking aspects of
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the story. I think it's pretty friggin' solid.
Me too. What'd you give it?
I gave the story a 7 out of 10.
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Nice.
And it's just because like I look back at it
Yeah.
and I'm just like it again, that bait and switch, because it starts off and it's very simple and then all of a sudden it adds like layers of depth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it just evolves. And I feel like that's the representation of a good story, because if it's just like, this is your main bad guy, this is what you have to do, and that's the end game, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Link to the Past, where you unlock the Master Sword and you go to fight Sahar or whatever. I don't know. But then you realize, oh wait, there's a dark
world and everything.
And there's everything else.
So much more.
So it adds so much more. So that's I give it an 8 out of 10.
No, it's solid. I mean, in a 7, just to clarify for people that aren't aware, 7 is a good review. Like, that's a good score. I mean, it's not a good review. It's a good score.
Yes.
Right? So, don't think that a 7 is bad or anything. I know we're used to, like, thinking of like a 70 as like a C in the States.
Yeah.
It's really not. I mean,
No.
what happens to the other? Like if a 50 is an F, what happens from 0 to 40? That's you know.
So a 7 on our scale is great. If they had just fixed a few things, it could have been amazing. An 8 is pretty awesome, starting to get hyped when talking about it, but need to ignore some things.
Exactly. So, like I said, I gave
File
it a
8.
7. You know, because of file 8 really did hurt a lot of the pacing for me,
Yeah.
and at times it felt derivative. Again, like it was so much like Evangelion with so many of its things, and sometimes it can be derivative rather than giving homage to a source. So that's kind of why I gave it that. But I still really enjoyed the game, and in terms of story, probably one of the better Platinum, because I'm not gonna credit Nier Automata as Platinum. They developed the gameplay. Yoko Taro with the story.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not gonna credit Platinum for writing that. This, however, was Platinum, and I will give them credit. This is probably one of their best rated ones.
Yeah,
for sure.
In regards to gameplay, though, like one of the things that I loved. I mean, okay, so first off, if you watch our Let's Plays, when we first actually started playing the game, I was playing here, and he had already been playing for a little bit, and I was still kind of getting like the groove of things.
Right.
For me personally, there was a little bit of a learning curve getting used to, moving. I don't even have a
your switch remote somewhere.
Oh, here we go. So like, you're controlling each character individually in a sense, and like it took a while for me to kind of get used to that.
You and the Legion.
Yeah, you and the Legion. But once you start fighting, like the haptic feedback that you get whenever your Legion's ready to do like a combo attack and things like that, like it felt really good. And once you kind of like get into the groove of things and then absorbing their cores and healing as you go, like it's just go.
There's like not a pattern that I want to talk. It's not a pattern per se, but there's a flow.
Yes.
To the combat of the game, right? So like you said, so you start off doing your combos. Your Legion, essentially, you control his movement. If you hold the ZL button and the right stick, you can move your Legion around, which gives you access to like, wrapping your Legion around and
with the Astral Chain.
Right, with the Astral Chain and like tying up your enemies, and then you can do some combos off of that if you unlock those when you level up your Legion, because there's skills and there's like passives that you can level up for your Legion.
A skill tree.
There's always skill trees in action games.
It's a skill tree, but I mean, I'm okay with it, man. Like
in this game, it felt good because that's kind of where the RPG elements came in, right? So it's an action. It's 100% an action game with some really strong RPG elements, right? Less than Nier Automata. I think Nier Automata had more.
With their chip system.
Yeah.
Like
totally. This had something similar. You could add a bunch of stuff to the Legions. You could add. I forget what they were called. It wasn't chips though. It was something else.
I think it was CP was like the acronym for it, right?
Crap. Yeah, I think so.
And like you gave him like some, I think it was like crystal points or something like that.
Yeah, so you gave him like the points, right?
Yeah.
You would beat enemies and you would get all those points. You fill up the levels and you kind of unlock those passives. And then you have certain items that you get that you can unlock other passives and other skills, etc., etc. And where the hell was I going with this?
I don't know, but there's just so much that you can go ahead and do in order to actually develop your own play style. There's also abilities that you can. I think there's 5 slots maximum per each Legion. So let's say you want your Arm Legion to be a little bit faster, you can actually equip little items to go in those slots. And depending on what you want, like one of the things that I loved is that whenever I activated my Sword Legion and let him loose in the wild, he would automatically heal. And that was like one of those perks.
A good one,
yeah, totally. So there's like different playstyles that you can go ahead and do. One of the things that he taught me about was that one of the abilities that you unlocked was that you can unchain your Legion and just let him fury, and then you can go ahead and release another Legion to go ahead and fight. So you'd have 2 Legions going at whatever it is that you want, and keep that going. So the possibilities are endless.
There was
it's
a lot
great
of variety.
system.
I read a lot that a lot of people were complaining and saying that it was too simplified. Like at first, it seems like overwhelming.
It seems that way,
but it's not. Like you just said, right? So, for example, what my main go-to combo. Yeah, there you go. Was so I would bring out the Beast. I would hit the Howl, so it would stun the enemies, and then I would unchain him. So my Beast is going in unchained. Then I take out the Arm. He had an ability which other Legions get, where he auto binds 3 enemies.
Yes.
So I would auto bind 3 enemies. So I have my Beast going in. I auto bind these enemies, and then I go in and I use when you auto bind, you can unlock like the follow-ups to the binding.
Yep.
And for the arm, what he did, it's so fucking sick. I just really like it. The R, like you press your L when you do the follow-up, and like you and your character go up and start literally like you jump up, you hit them, and your arm goes in and hits them too. And then the second follow-up, you just go in, you go ta 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 ta, and your arm just goes wailing on the guys while they're like tied up.
Yeah.
While my beast is I don't know. It just that was my go-to freaking combo.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
looked cool. It felt good. And it just looks stylish, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the whole point of this stuff is that like you feel powerful, and you still have style.
Yeah.
It's Platinum Games.
Yeah, yeah. So and then another aspect that a lot of people failed to see was aerial combat.
Oh my god.
So like the game doesn't really force you that way. It does feel very grounded. Like
Yeah.
you don't have a jump button.
Yeah.
Right. So it feels grounded. But I started noticing with Arrow in particular, the Arrow Legion, when you send your arrow out to flying enemies or even enemies that are slightly above you, and you pull yourself to the Legion, there's actually some pretty decent aerial gameplay in there. Like it's not Devil May Cry levels of gameplay, but it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
So I think people didn't give it enough credit, and they just want to go out there and say like, no, there actually is some pretty good variety. I found some like combo videos of the game, and I was like, damn, like these guys are really playing really, really cool with this gameplay. So I want to give it that. And we're just talking about the combat.
I know, we're just talking about combat.
We're not even talking about like the other half.
Yeah.
The investigations.
Oh my god. Dude, the detective side of things. I didn't even like so I didn't pay too much attention. I just saw
Yeah.
that it was Astral Chain, it was Platinum Games. I was like, all right, done.
Yeah,
Sold.
cool.
I want to buy it.
Nintendo published? Okay.
Done. I don't even care.
Yeah.
And like it just added like such a unique layer of like just investigating, talking, looking into different things, and like
tons of side quests
oh
too
my
when you're
God.
investigating.
I mean, I'm the type of person where like I'll do all the side quests that I can as I'm playing. I'm not gonna sit there and like turn every stone.
Right, because there's a lot.
There's a lot. Like you can spend hours on just one file. And even the story alone took a good chunk of time. But
for sure.
no, it was amazing. And like the difference between like the astral plane and going into like saving people and like coming back out and rifts being everywhere. It's awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I think that ultimately, I think Platinum Games needs to refine that a little bit because near the end of the game, I was getting a little bored of the investigations.
It was a little tedious.
It ended up feeling like it was just more of the same. Like at first, the first like 3 or 4 files, I'm like, yo, this is cool.
Yeah.
But I think it ran out of variety.
Yeah.
It ended up essentially being either you're gonna fight more chimeras, which wasn't a bad thing because the combat is good.
Yeah.
But it was just more of the outside.
You
stuff.
had your cookie cutter. It felt cookie cutter at the end of it all. Did you was it file 8 where you're in the slums and
File 8 was after the big fight in 7,
Yeah,
after the
so-
homunculus like destroys the city.
all the side quests within the area?
So many side quests.
I was like, by the end of it, I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's the file that hurt the pacing for me
Yes.
because of the crazy amount of side quests. You had like I think 5 or 6 red files within the same area.
Right.
Tons of blue ones.
Yep.
Some of them were interesting. Some of them were kind of weird. And one thing that I liked at first, and then I was like, okay, I hate this puzzle. The freaking car puzzle with the arm legion.
Oh my god!
Dude, what the heck, man?
That was so boring. Did you finish all? Did you finish
Well, yeah,
all?
I this is kind of.
Did you cheese it?
No.
Okay, I didn't either.
No.
But I
hold on.
almost did.
What, you mean like that I look it up? Like the result?
Yeah.
So, okay. I literally moved them all and I got to the very last stupid freaking car and I'm like, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah.
So then I did. I was like, forget it. I'm not going to spend any more time. I did look it up and it was like, it was like, I just moved one car ahead when I shouldn't have. And it was like, God, I hate this game. So it's just funny though, because even though I didn't like the pacing, the rewards that the side quest gave you were pretty substantial. You got a lot of experience and a lot of credits and stuff for it. So I was like, I want to do them.
Well, yeah.
You know, so even though, like I said, even though the pacing was hurt, I still really wanted to pursue those side quests. Mm-hmm. So I still think it just hurt the pacing though. It's overall not a positive, but not an overall negative either.
Yeah, kind of like a neutral point.
Yeah. I think overall though, The customization as well, real quick.
Oh my god.
You made your character look like friggin' Laguna Lore from
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VIII. Which
I
is
had
hype.
to, man. I was
Yeah.
like, yes, this is it.
Yeah, that was awesome. I like that too. I love Final Fantasy VIII. I mean,
Yeah.
and then I just made one my waifu, my
Your
anime
wife.
boo, you know. So I like the customization for the character, but I love how much you can customize your Legion.
Yes.
I literally made them all look like Ava's.
Yeah.
Like my sword looks like Ava Unit 1.
Mm-hmm.
The second one you get is the arrow, right?
Yeah.
I made the beast look like Ava Unit 2 with the red and the yellow. 'Cause I was like, beast.
Yeah.
Beast mode.
Beast mode.
I don't know,
Yeah.
there was just too many references. And the fact that you can even color them that way, that color coordination,
Well,
literally looking like an
Unit
Ava.
1, like it came default like that. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. So I don't know. But in regards to what did you give
So I gave
gameplay?
In terms of gameplay, dude, Platinum did it again. I gave it an 8.5.
I give it a 9
Nice, dude.
because it's so freaking good.
No,
like,
no, Platinum just again.
you
they did it
dive
again.
in and it's freaking good.
Yeah.
It's freaking good.
A lot of variety to be had, a lot of fun to be had. So I think it's a good, solid game, man.
Oh yeah. So for reference, a 9 is, oh man, this is so close to perfect, which it is. I agree with you that some of that polish
Right.
needed to happen in the non-fighting, the detective
Yeah,
scenarios
yeah,
and things like
yeah.
that. But aside from that, it was just
Yeah, gameplay. There's very
It's a
little I
hell
can
of a
think of.
freaking
Like
great experience,
I
man.
mean, if they were to add a jump button in a potential sequel, that could open up the gameplay a ton more.
Yes.
Because imagine dealing with the Legion that is always in the air, like the Arrow Legion, and you can jump in the air. Maybe you can like jump up, get pulled, hit them buttons, send him over there real quick. Cause there's a move with him that you can press. Like if you press his ZL and like hit the thumbstick, he flies in that direction. So like there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall 8.5.
yeah,
Yeah,
sweet,
so
sweet,
it's great,
sweet.
man.
In regards to audio, so one of the first things that I noticed when you first go to the astral plane, I
Oh, yeah.
immediately got the Nier Automata vibes.
Yeah, and I don't think it's the same composer, but even still, absolutely, I'm with you. Like the vocals in
Yes.
the background, like, yeah.
Nailed it.
I tried, I practiced for this. No.
But no, like that, you go in and like I automatically was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You can tell this is from Platinum Games, regardless if it's
Absolutely.
the same composer or not.
No,
Like you're
there's
just like,
definitely that sound design,
Yes.
that audio design, like the
It's-
music.
it's definitely there. Overall though, the soundtrack is just
I literally wrote it here. I said soundtrack was kind of sort of exceptional. Because it kind of sort of is. It's a fantastic soundtrack.
yes.
Like the more I started thinking about it, I even started listening to the playlist on YouTube while I was writing this up.
Yeah.
And like I heard one song like, yeah, that's a good song, and the next one I was like, oh damn, it's a really good song.
Yeah.
And then the next one I was like, oh damn, and then I think probably my favorite song of the whole freaking soundtrack, the Headquarters music.
Yes!
Oh my
yes! Dude, it's so good. Like I have it playing. Like
Yeah.
there's like a huge, I think it's like an hour-long loop
Yeah.
of like the same stuff, and I was just like, all right, I can just listen to this forever.
No,
So
it
freaking
was
good.
it was so good. It was so good. Like, and I don't know if you noticed. I'm sure you did. Like when you're just walking around, you have that rendition, and then
Yeah.
when you go into the computer, like your own personal computer, there's like I think it takes out the vocals.
Yeah.
It's just like the overall rhythm and
Yes.
the beat. Oh, I was like, shit.
know.
Which one do I like more?
Look at that sound design, dude. So well done.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I gotta give it kudos to the sound designer, kudos to the music composer. Like, fan-friggin-tastic soundtrack. Like, literally, look up any song from that. Like, the boss
anyone.
fights are so hyped too,
Dude,
Like the rock. I
and
mean,
like-
the J-Rock song that I mentioned, it even has an opening theme song.
That's
like an anime-style opening theme song.
And like the further that you progress, the more epic the music gets.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
all
yeah.
of the boss fights just keep on getting better and better and better and better.
Yeah.
It just
yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. This ain't Nier Automata levels
no,
of music.
no. Like
But-
that's something else.
But for the style of game, for how it looks, it conveyed that look. Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
has like the neo noir, like punk, futuristic, very neon lit heavy style, and that soundtrack really delivered. I think it sounds
agree.
just like it. It really did sound like that, and it sounds like an anime. And I like anime. There we go.
there you go. Anything else that you want to say?
I gave it a 9.5. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah. All right. Cool. I gave audio an 8. And the only reason why I did that was because I just didn't want to give it a perfect score.
No, I'm with you on that.
Because
I'm with you on
an
that.
8, again, guys, an 8 for reference is pretty awesome. Starting to get hyped when talking about things, but need to ignore some things. And
I mean, the 0.5, like, I couldn't give it a perfect score because of one thing, and I mentioned it here. The Legions all sound unique, but they were missing oomph. And I mean, this is gonna be funny, right? I mentioned being derivative by copying Ava in certain things, but you can also pay homage to things. The Avas all sound very friggin' unique when you think about the Avas, right? The sound that they make. They could have done something a little bit more with the Legions. Like, they had a lot of character in how they looked, but in terms of how they sound, which is a major part of it, there wasn't too much. They do each have a different roar, different like screech when you hear them.
But
it almost felt like Pokemon levels of like sounds, where it's like
Gen 1. Gen 1.
Yeah, I love my sound effects, by the way.
If we could use that as a sound bit from now on, for just like, that should be the sound bit for like the widgets in Streamlabs. Clip.
Right.
Oh man.
Anyway, yeah, so I that's why I gave it a 0.5. That's why I didn't give it a perfect score.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good, man. In regards to visuals, I mentioned earlier while we were talking, I still can't believe this runs on Switch.
I know.
Like,
it looks so good.
It looks
really does.
freaking amazing.
It really does.
Very, very polished. The only thing that jumped out at me in regards, because it is a Switch game, but the only thing that jumped out at me was the localization of the lip animation. That was one of like the things that really stood out to me. And because I do play in English, I rarely play games in Japanese because my wife sometimes likes to watch and she doesn't like to read subtitles. Sorry, love you, honey. But that's the gist of it, you know. So I don't know. Aside from that, like it was
funny 'cause
stylized.
I usually play in Japanese.
You played this in English?
I played this in English.
No way.
The thing is, and the reason why I played Nier Automata, besides hearing that it actually had an amazing voice cast, was that Platinum Games tends to deliver a lot of story in gameplay segments. It's gonna be hard to read subtitles as you're trying to like pay attention to the combat.
true.
So that's why I was like, let me just play it in English. Literally every Platinum game that I know does this.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Quick segue. When we were talking about audio, that one of the final confrontations with Yosef, when it's you and your sibling and you guys are fighting. And you can barely hear him. Like he mumbles.
Yeah. You're right, actually. That actually was trying to look at the subtitles, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, you're trying to fight
all the
and
legions and stuff, and it was like,
you can't do that. So,
Yeah.
anyways, and back to visuals. No, another sound bit. No, I agree with you. Like, I didn't run into any like FPS issues or anything like that.
No, it was
like,
locked at 30, so it wasn't a 60 FPS game, which most Platinum games tend to be.
But I felt like it was
higher.
okay because it was more cinematic.
It was so I guess their train of thought must have been, I'm assuming here, was we're gonna focus on the style, we're gonna focus on the graphics, really wow with the graphics, and then second to the FPS, and that's fine. Like I think it worked fine. I would love to see how this game runs unlocked at 60 FPS or more. Maybe somebody will mod it someday, but yeah, it's on a Switch.
Yeah,
This ain't gonna be pushing like Bayonetta 3 has the precedent. Like that kind of has to be 60 FPS because that game requires precision, combat, precision inputs. This game has more leeway. Like even like your follow-up attacks, like with the shining animation where you press the ZL, even those gave you have a very big window.
Oh yeah.
To get those.
Oh yeah.
So it was like okay.
You have the haptic feedback, you have visual feedback, you have everything that's there, and I think there's actually an audio cue as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, ding, like a high pitched, like almost like a bell or something.
Yeah. So it's just like you have everything. The game's like, hey, do it.
Yeah.
Now.
No. Yeah.
So it's there. It's there.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, the graphics were solid. Like I said, really good textures, and those textures, even if some of them were a little bit low res, they were hidden behind a style because it almost had almost like a cell shaded paint job
kind of
on top of it.
Kind
you know
of.
what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but I'm okay with that.
I liked it. No, I'm
okay
not
with
saying that's a negative. I'm saying like
It looked good.
Yeah, they hid potentially low textures behind that paint of cell shadedness, and it looked good.
Yeah,
Looked really good. So I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Let's see what I gave it. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Dang! I'm just kidding.
And it was lip syncing.
The lip syncing
because
was,
that,
you know,
that takes me out.
it does.
It
does.
takes me out of the immersion.
It's like we're not on PS2 era anymore, where like that was
yeah,
to be
where it was like
expected.
bat.
Yeah, yeah.
Like-
So I mean, it definitely was, and I wonder how much better it would have been in Japanese. The lip syncing, I really don't know. I never looked it up, but I get you. I'm with you on that.
No, that was my gist. So, let's go ahead and reveal our final score.
Which we're gonna have to do some calculations real quick. But
Yeah, that's-
overall, my final score was an 8.35 out of 10. But we can't do those crazy decimals out here, so 8.4. I'm gonna round up.
8.4. Where did I put my score?
TGR, baby.
Yeah. I did 8.4.
Really? You got 8.4 as well?
Yeah, 8.4.
Nice. All right. So literally, we gave it an 8.4. I mean, we don't have to do a.
No, so
It's 8.4. TGR official score
8.4.
Solid freaking game, man.
Yeah, I loved it, man.
Yeah. I really want Platinum to refine what they did here. I want them to look at the investigation
for a potential sequel.
Absolutely. This got to be. I think from what I've read, Platinum said on Twitter that this sold well. They haven't given out numbers, which
Okay.
I don't think Nintendo really does a lot.
No.
Well, until they do the reports.
Like the fiscal reports for their investors.
Yeah. So I don't know what the sales are for this game, but Platinum said it went well. And I think the Switch being just such a good system to make games on anyway, pretty sure it's all pretty decent.
It's so crazy because there's so many people that were like, why isn't this coming out to Xbox and PlayStation and stuff?
I
And
realized Nintendo published it.
that is one thing. And then the other thing, Platinum Games openly was all like, listen, Nintendo published it.
They probably funded it too.
Nintendo's not going to go ahead and like put Zelda and Mario and all that. That's their console. This is where it's going to be. If you want
Right.
to play it, get a Switch.
And people might argue like, oh, but Microsoft does it. Why can't Nintendo do it? It's
Well,
like,
Microsoft's business model is totally different.
they're doing something very different now with the Xbox Games Pass, letting all those indies go on other platforms. I mean,
What?
Microsoft this is a different ballpark. Nintendo is Nintendo, and they funded this. I get it that technically they could say, okay, yeah, let's have it here for a year and let's put it else somewhere else. They are going to make money off of it. Again,
Yeah.
they published the game,
Yeah.
but it's Nintendo.
Yeah, it's Nintendo.
You know, they're gonna do their thing, and
Yeah.
they look. Them and Platinum have a relationship. I mean, they were the
Yeah.
ones that funded Bayonetta 2.
Yeah.
If they didn't put the money down, that would never have been made. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming the same applies for Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
So and you can only play Bayonetta 2 on Switch because Bayonetta 2 is not on PC.
Yeah.
It's just on the Wii U or on the Switch.
Nah.
So
Get on Switch.
yeah, so definitely.
So, anyways, what do you guys think of this phenomenal game? Did you guys
Yeah.
get Astral Chain? Did you guys actually play through it? Did you finish it? Do you guys agree with us? Disagree with us? Let us know in the comments below. Obviously, do the YouTube stuff, liking the video. That helps out a lot. And subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell. That way you can stay up to date with all of our craziness.
Yes, please.
There's a bunch of links down there. Join our Discord if you want to go ahead and chat up with us and find out when we stream and, interact with us and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Aside from that, is there anything else that I need to say?
No,
I don't know.
get the game, man. Support.
Yes,
I mean,
please.
that's not like Platinum Games is a small developer. They have a good number of staff. But what I mean is,
Well, they were on
support
thin
new
ice at
IPs.
one point, man. Like, it's a
Yeah.
good game.
Yeah, just buy
Vote
it.
with your dollars.
Exactly. You want more new stuff? It's a freaking new IP. I love new IPs.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
Go for
me
it.
too. So, until next time, guys.
later.
Deuces.
Like what you saw? Check out some of our other videos.
Be sure to click the subscribe button, hit the little bell, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Thanks for your support, and thanks for watching.